Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a professional athlete? What goes on behind the scenes? Well, today I'm so excited that we have NHL hockey player Matt Irwin here with us. And he's not only going to talk to us about hockey, but he's going to keep it real and talk about life. And he's a stand-up comedian.
The goal here is to learn how to treat your mind and body like a professional athlete. Welcome to Mind Your Body. I'm Dr. Audra Lance. I'm a doctor of chiropractic who specializes in treating sports and non-surgical injuries, anything that involves muscles and joints. I treat big-name celebrities and professional athletes. Most of my patients refer to me as the witch doctor because they can't explain any other way their pain was removed that quickly. I hate cooking, but I do love wine. And don't even think about giving me anything that involves ketchup because I will not eat it. Every episode of this show is designed to help you move better, live better, and feel better. Now let's go do this thing.
Thank you for that. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Welcome. We have actually like a live podcast. We have an audience over on the couch.
We do. Yeah. Our significant others and Hayward.
He likes the podcast.
Yeah.
And so today we're drinking some mimosas because it's the morning. Cheers.
Cheers.
And he's drinking out of the breath into your butthole wine glass. It's supposed to be breathe, but spelled wrong. We just roll with it.
Yep. However you get it done.
So I wanted to be honest with you guys. We recorded this back in May and I messed up and the audio didn't work. So I'm really hoping it's working now and we're going to redo it. In the meantime, I got some more questions, so it's probably going to be better than the one in May.
Yeah, I mean, a couple months of more experience, so here we are. So a couple more stories, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, some more alcohol in that time.
You never know. Yeah.
I love it. So first, congratulations. You're going to be playing in Vancouver this year.
Yeah, thank you. Pretty excited. It's obviously our hometown team, being from Victoria, and a team I grew up watching, obviously, when I was a little kid, and actually was a diehard fan. That opportunity to go to Vancouver and play for a childhood favorite team is a dream come true, and to be close to home, family and friends is something that I would have never imagined actually ever. So pretty stoked on that for sure.
I love it. And if you want to watch our antics and this fun conversation, you can watch this whole podcast on YouTube. So just want to let you know that. But I want to talk to you about your health journey and get into some detail about how you've minded your body. Get that? Wrap into the podcast.
Got it.
Throughout your career. But first, I'm dying to know, you are one of the few players who got to play in the Stanley Cup Finals. And not a lot of players can say that. So tell me what that was like.
Obviously amazing. First of all, I think the whole process, I think that year, we weren't a top team. We were a team that just kind of scratched and clawed our way into the playoffs. I think we went in as the 8th seed. I know we went in as the 8th seed in the Western Conference final, but I think overall, I think we were points wise the 16th seed. So the last seed to get in, and the expectations outside of our room weren't large. We were playing Chicago in the first round. Nobody really gave us a chance, but that series went in our favor. Obviously, we were able to sweep them, and that series alone, I think, was just kind of a jump start and a springboard and confidence in our group. I mean, we had it going into the playoffs. We were confident in our ability, but to sweep a team like that just gave everyone just an absolute boost of confidence. And then obviously, when you get that, the city of Nashville kind of rallied around that as well. And then, went on to win the next two series and then found ourselves in the Stanley Cup Finals. But obviously that's what you play for, no matter what sport, any level, whether it is at the highest level of professional sports or if it's college, high school, youth sports, you want to win a championship. And so the opportunity to play that at the highest level was something I'll never forget. Unfortunately, the outcome wasn't what we wanted, but the experiences, the way as a group we came together, the way the city rallied around us was so special and so unique. So nothing but good memories, except for the one poor memory of actually losing it.
And speaking of that, all Pred fans remember the infamous premature whistle on the Sissons goal in Game 6 which may have cost the game and a chance to force game 7. Was that pretty frustrating?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I didn't know the rule when it happened, but that whole playoff run, when we scored at home, it was, a shot of adrenaline. It was electric. It was as loud as I've heard any building. And so when you think you have a goal and then it gets disallowed, it's certainly deflating. But at that time, there was a lot of game left, and we were playing well. It was a tight game. I think it was 0-0, and our season was obviously on the line, and Pittsburgh was desperate because they had a chance to close out. Yeah, I mean, obviously frustrating. I mean, you can't say it's not, but it is what it is. I mean, you can't sit there and dwell on it, for the rest of the game. That's going to do you no good. It's not going to bring back a goal. You just move on like anything. There's adversity throughout the year. There's adversity through the playoffs, and then game to game, you run into some adversity. So that's what makes a playoff run like that so challenging, is you go through these ups and downs throughout the year, throughout the playoffs, throughout series, and then just in games where the emotions are high and then they're low and everything. So, you just got to kind of, it's cliche, stay even keel and work to get the next one. And unfortunately, we didn't actually get the next one. But yeah, I mean, it was just part of the game, and that's what happens.
Yeah. And have you been to Broadway and seen the statue of Pekka yet?
I think I got a picture.
Oh yeah, we sent it last time.
Yeah, the last time I was here, we got a picture beside Pekka. Yeah.
So you've been there and seen it.
Yeah.
So I heard a quote from him in the media, from Pekka, who we both know and love, when he was asked by a reporter what he thought about the missed call. He had just, of course, all of you guys, but him as the goalie, lost his chance at a Stanley Cup and had every right to be livid. And his response was, "Everybody makes mistakes," which I know you and I both agree on, but we have talked about this, but it just shows how good of a person and that Pekka is, or a human, on and off the ice.
Yeah, I mean, that answer to that question sums Pekka up in a nutshell. I mean, there's a guy that is so calm, so friendly, so inviting. You just want to be around him, and just his vibe it just attracts people, and the way he treats people, the way he treats anyone throughout the city of Nashville. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, you're friends with Pekka, and Pekka is your friend, and what he means to this city. And me personally getting to play just 4 years with him is something that I'll cherish. And I think I say that for anyone that's had the opportunity to play a game or 10 years with him. He's a special human being. There's not a lot of them in the hockey world, let alone in the world. He's unique. He's just a really good guy, and he deserves everything that he has been given, but he's also earned all that too. He works so hard. He's always the hardest worker. He takes care of himself. He takes care of the people around him. So, what he has done for the organization, for the city of Nashville, and anyone that has had the pleasure of just running into him is tremendous. So that answer to, what was a devastating turn of events is Pekka in a nutshell, and I wouldn't expect anything else from him.
Of course not. Well, cheers to the Stanley Cup run. That's so exciting. You got to be a part of that and in it. All right. I want to hear, and the people, they want to hear kind of your story. Like, how did you ever think you'd be a professional athlete, and how did you get here?
Yeah. I mean, I start off with dreaming of being an NHL hockey player. I grew up playing baseball and hockey. Those are the two sports that I did soccer too, but baseball and hockey kind of took over. As a kid, you dream. It is a dream to play in the NHL, or for me, even baseball, play in the MLB. But that was it. It was just a dream. I honestly didn't think that it was even a possibility. So that being said, I mean, I played hockey because I loved it. I had fun doing it. I had great friends through minor hockey, through juniors, college, and then through the pro ranks. But never once was I like, I'm going to make the NHL, or did my parents say he's going to make the NHL? That wasn't the case. It was just go out there, have fun, be active, all the things that you learn through, team sports, how to be a good teammate, hard work, discipline, all those things. That was the most important thing. And then obviously you develop skills and things start to unfold. Yeah. For me, it was, minor hockey to junior hockey to a college opportunity to realizing that maybe there is something here at the pro level, and then fortunate enough signing a pro contract. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm knocking on the door here. Maybe there is a chance. And you still don't really, you hope for it, but you don't believe it. I never really did until, that opportunity did come. So it was never something that I thought would happen. It was just always a dream.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. And what was your big break? How did you, when you first signed that contract, where did you go? Where did you start?
Yeah.
And how'd that feel?
So going back a little bit, I played junior B back home in Victoria for the Saanich Braves. It means nothing to anyone, but then I went on to play junior A hockey. And that's where you kind of start. And I didn't even know this. That's where college teams start to, NCAA teams start scouting. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know that was a thing when I first got there. And not that it was on my radar, because I didn't play well enough to even have any team on my radar. But I spent 3 years at that level. And that second year was kind of the year that kind of springboarded me onto the map, I guess, for scouts, and started getting some looks and some interest, and did a couple fly down visits, and ended up committing to the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. And for a kid that's from Western Canada going all the way out to the East Coast, was daunting, but also I thought it was a cool opportunity, because I didn't know personally, going back to whether I thought I was going to play professional. I didn't know if I'd ever get out to the East Coast of the States, or let alone the East Coast anywhere of Canada. So for me, that was just a good opportunity to get out there, see that's part of the world, play in a hockey crazy area in the New England area. Fell in love with the campus, the coaching staff, the opportunity that they're saying that, I would have. So it was good. I with the schools that I had opportunities to attend, I just looked at where I was going to play. I wanted to go in and have an opportunity to play, and then earn that spot, and just kind of go from there. I didn't want to go in and be stuck behind because it might be a better school or a better hockey program at the time. I didn't want to go in and be stuck behind some draft picks, because I was never drafted. I just wanted to go in and hopefully earn my ice and put my best foot forward. And because I was older too, I was 20 when I went to my freshman year. So when you start realizing that, pro hockey might be an opportunity, you're only young for so long, and that window closes pretty quick. So, I had to go in there and prove that I could play, and it worked out. And from there, after my sophomore year, I was able to sign with the San Jose Sharks and then start my pro career.
That's awesome. And something that you just said, prove myself, I have to play.
Yeah.
You've kind of had to do that your whole career.
Yeah.
And you have an interesting perspective and position, because everyone just raves about how good of a locker room guy you are. You're hilarious. You're there to support everyone. You just bring the best out in people with who you are as a person and your personality. So what has been that journey of proving you have to play, and how did you find your spot on a team?
I think we just end the podcast there with that little conclusion. Thank you. No, just honestly, it wasn't always like that. You have to adapt to, everything. Doesn't matter if it's hockey or life. I came in my first couple years in San Jose, playing on the power play, playing, 18, 20 minutes a night in all situations. It was rolling. It was good. This was awesome. I'm playing in the NHL. This is a dream come true. And then, as any first year, second year guys, first year I kind of rode the adrenaline. It was a lockout year, so there was only 36 games. So it was a short kind of window. And then the second year, obviously hit some bumps and play drop. It was hard to be consistent. Didn't have the experience, didn't really know how to deal with it. Never had really been healthy scratch. So that was a whole new mental, grind, I guess. So learning how to deal with that. And that was challenging for sure. But you learn to figure it and navigate your way through it, and, play well, and just learn that consistency is what's going to keep you in the lineup and all that stuff. But that was challenging for sure. The following year after my time in San Jose is kind of when it was really, I guess, so to speak, rock bottom of my hockey career, which, looking back, certainly I wouldn't call it rock bottom. But at that time, I felt like the walls were caving in. I signed with Boston. excited. I was a free agent, went to Boston, had a great training camp. And then the first 2 games, I was terrible, like beyond terrible. I think I was on the ice for 5 goals against in the 2 games. And I remember going in the following day after that second game, the GM called me into his office and he was putting me on waivers. And so that was crushing. I mean, that's like,
what do you think was that struggle of those 2 bad games? Was it your mindset? Was it your body? Like, or it's just the pressure?
It wasn't. I was fully confident going into the season because I had a really good training camp, and I just had 2 bad games. Just laid an egg, and I wasn't really given the opportunity to dig out of it, which I'm confident I would have been able to. But that next day I was put on waivers, and so that's crushing because then one team's kind of given up on you, and so they wanted me to go down to the minors and find my game and maybe get called up if that worked out. But what waivers is, you get passed through at the time 29 other teams, and they can pick you up for free. And so you wait 24 hours and see if a team wants to take a chance on you or what have you. And I got a call at, I guess, just after noon, 12:30 or whatever it was, and said that I cleared waivers and I'm going down to the minors. So there's another blow, right? Like, okay, there's 29 other teams in the league and nobody wants me. So that kind of sucks. So anyways, kind of pick yourself up, I guess, a little bit. And I went down to the minors in Providence and had a great year in the sense that I enjoyed my time there. My teammates were great. Just tried to improve my game, tried to help the team win, obviously. But there was bumps there too. There was healthy scratches in the minors. And so here I go from playing 3 years in the NHL to being waived, to no one wanting me, to going to the minors, playing well, but still getting scratched. Now I'm getting scratched in the AHL, which I'd never had. That never happened. And one thing to get scratched in the NHL, you're in the best league in the world, blah, blah, blah. But then you get sent down thinking you're an NHL player. Now you're not even an AHL player. That was hard mentally. And so that was a grind. So that season ended, and I was happy when that season was over just because I could close the door on that season and move on. And that's when, options for the following season were coming outside of North America. And that was opportunities in Europe and Russia, where you could make good money and, kind of set yourself up, because here I am, like I said, scratched, NHL, AHL, like who wants me? We considered, I say we, my wife and I, Chantel, we considered going over to Russia. I think more me than her. To this day, I give her all the credit, and I have to, because she was the one that was like, you're not going over there. This isn't happening. You're a good hockey player. You're an NHL hockey player. Let's give it another go. Let's see if there's another team out there, and they'll sign you, and keep going and stay in North America, and at least you owe it to yourself to give it another chance. This could just be a fluke. And in her mind, it was. In my mind, I was thinking, well, I gotta go. Let's try to be financially stable here and go make some money over there. And much to her credit, we decided to stay in North America and got a call July 1st from Nashville. And and then David Poyle called, and we committed to coming here and signed in Nashville and started that next year out in the minors in Milwaukee. And then there was an opportunity through injuries to get called up maybe a week or two in, and ended up playing 76 games, a career high, that 16-17 season, and then the run to the Stanley Cup Finals, which we already touched on. And here we are,
You're still freaking playing. It's so awesome.
6-7 years later, we're still playing in the NHL.
So you've been in the NHL how many seasons?
This will be my 11th or 12th year now.
That's huge.
And so I think after my 3rd, 4th year pro was when Chantel convinced me to stay over here and give it another shot. So all the credit to her, and it's amazing.
Incredible. It's so important to have like a team around you of supportive people. That includes your family and people that are friends and people you pay to have around you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's everything. You can't do it on your own. I just kind of shut down and was like, I guess this isn't for me. This is not what it's supposed to be for me. And that's why you need the support system. You need your family, your wife, girlfriend, whoever it might be, your people outside of hockey, so you can kind of get away from it. Your friends that that aren't in the hockey world, so you can just talk to them about anything, really. Have like that mental health coach, have your Audra who you go see and get worked on, and talk about hockey, talk about life, talk about really anything. Like there are conversations we have when we're doing treatment we can't share, but it's just it's just that it gets your brain thinking outside of the box, because as athletes, and especially professional athletes, or any athlete for that matter, you're so dialed in on your day-to-day that you forget about what's going on and what perspective of everything else in your life. And so especially in a situation where it felt like I said, the walls caving in, you're even more just looking straight ahead, and you're not really seeing these different avenues to help you improve. You just kind of it's an ego thing. You're just like, I can get through this myself.
Exactly.
There's no way, like, I don't need help. I'm a hockey player, I'm a football player, I'm whatever, I can do this. But you can't. You need help, and that's why you got to surround yourself with the best people.
Yeah, and that just relates from professional athletes to whatever you do in your job, in your training. If you're just trying to run a marathon, if you're just trying to survive raising your kids, like, it applies for all of
everything.
us. And even getting through an injury or getting through a death, something like that applies for everyone all around, which is so cool. Speaking of support and stuff, what was the biggest injury you've ever had? Because obviously professional athletes, they get injured. Yeah.
Knock on wood, I've been very fortunate with injuries. You obviously end up with tweaks here and there and contusions and what have you. My first one was in college. I had a high ankle sprain. I'd never experienced that. That was before my first college game. It was practice, and got hit in practice, and my toe stuck into the ice, and high ankle sprain. And that was awful. You roll your ankle playing basketball, like in high school, and like the courts outside, and that's awful. But high ankle sprain, I've never felt,
when you're on knives.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was the worst. And I remember taking my skate off and directly into the cold tub, and I just about passed out. It was the weirdest thing. But anyways, that was quite the recovery. They
take a while.
Yeah, it's just it was so tedious, and I don't know, it was the weirdest thing. It took me, our dining hall was across from where my dorm room was, and we're talking maybe 50 meters. It would take me what seemed like 20 minutes to get over there. And I was in a boot, and it just, when you thought you were getting better and you thought, okay, maybe I can put this in a skate and try skating. Well, you'd put it in the skate and you're like, oh, I can't even walk. So I'm not skating. I got it in the boot. So there's one start, and then it baby steps all the way through. But so survived that one. And then I had one concussion in juniors that fortunately was just a 1 week deal. But the biggest injury I had was here in Nashville. I think it was 2018. We were in the playoffs, I believe. Yeah, we were playing Winnipeg, and it was a day off, a practice day in between games 6 and 7. And we're practicing at Centennial, and we're just doing like our drills that we always do. Pretty, at that time of the season, you just you're going through your drills. You do the same ones every day, and you get a sweat, and you get off, and you take care of your body, and you get ready for the next game. And anyways, the drill we've done 100 times. I was just skating up the ice, and looking back, it's funny because I just collapsed. I felt a pop in my back, fell down, and slid from like the red line, center ice, all the way into the corner. I couldn't get up. And anyways, I was able to get up and kind of shuffle my way to the bench. And I remember Andy, our trainer at the time, he goes, "What happened?" I was like, "Something with my back. It's tightening right up." And you could just feel it by the second, just grabbing. And he's like, "Sit down." And I was like, "No, if I sit down, I won't get up." And so he's like, "Okay, well, we had to like walk around the backside of the rink to get to the locker room, and just shuffling and trying to not look injured." But I knew right away that it certainly wasn't good. They had to help me take my gear off and all that. And so, yeah, I ended up missing game 7 that next night. And unfortunately, we lost that game, so the season was over. But then it was just the road to recovery, which I didn't think was going to be what it was. But, you know, having an L4, L5 herniated disc, and then the pain was brutal. The pain down your leg, the inability to do a lot of things. I just remember when I called Chantel to come pick me up, her and her mom actually were my two crutches. I was like draped over their shoulders. They stuffed me in the car because I had to go get x-rays and MRIs or whatever it was at Vanderbilt. And yeah, it was like, you're kind of debilitated. That kind of translated into a whole off season of focusing on my back and rehabbing that. And that's hard with injuries, especially as athletes, because the off season's time to recover and then get stronger for the following season. But when everyone deals with it, when you go through an injury, you got to recover, or you got to heal that, make sure you're good to start training. And you only have a couple months, so you can't really get back to where you want to be for camp. So that was challenging. But thankfully, I met Dr. Audra and through a teammate. And yeah, I mean, I to this day, I know for a fact that if I didn't meet you, there's a good chance I'm not playing hockey anymore, because it was that bad of an injury. You steered me away from surgery, and that was something that I was considering, because I was like, well, this isn't getting better. Let's go under the knife and let them fix it. And so through consultation through you and, you know, some of the other doctors were very, let's look at different avenues before we go under the knife, because once you cut open, as you say, you can't go back. And especially with the back, I remember you saying that it's something that's going to pop up over time as you get older. So let's exhaust all options with non-surgical procedure and see where we're at. And thankfully we did, because knock on wood again, I haven't had an issue with it since.
So
yeah, so fun. Yeah, it was fun.
We had a fun time rehabbing.
Yeah, we did.
But I still remember that very vividly. And you coming in, and I mean, to your credit, I looked at you and I was like, listen, you can't really go home this summer back to Canada.
No.
You need to commit to staying here so that we can get on top of this. And that's not something you probably wanted to hear either.
No.
But you showed up every time, every appointment. You did everything that was asked of you. And I mean, the fact you haven't even had like an issue with it since, like, it just shows that everyone deserves an effective conservative care plan. And finding a doctor that you trust and that you vibe with is so huge. And I know I get on my soapbox here and preach all of that, but because like you said earlier, when we were talking, there's the mindset component of that, not only healing you physically, but you are going to be scared to get back on the ice again. Like we have to work through that together.
And I remember being scared to get on the ice. Even I felt good, but I had yet to skate. So you just don't know what that is going to be like. And the funny story, Peter Laviolette was our coach, and I had Lavi the last 2 years in Washington.
Right.
And we did a lot of the same drills. And so we would do that one drill, 2-on-1 back check drill, you know, once a week, every now and then. But every now and then that we do it, I always remember when I leave the drill, I'm like, okay, just skate gingerly up the ice. You don't need like whatever. Like if they were like, why aren't you hustling? He was there with the injury. He saw me. I'd just be like, it's a little PTSD thing. Like, absolutely. It's like, I don't need to beat someone up the ice here. I just want to get up the ice. I skate harder than 9 out of 10 other drills. But this one, just mentally, I was like, I'm just going to kind of cruise up the ice here, because last time I thought I was flying, I ended up on my belly. So,
we don't want that.
No, we don't. So yeah, I mean, you gotta that's the mental side of it. But yeah, like you said, you got to surround yourself with the people you trust, because everyone's got different hands in the fire, I guess, so to speak. And you know, the organization was so good. They're like, do what you need to do, take your time, take care of yourself. If you need a second opinion, go do that. And a testament to the Preds organization. I don't know that you have your right to, but I don't know if there's a lot of organizations out there that are so willing to allow you to do that or not put up a fight over it. And they were just like, you just do you. This is serious. Whether it's an injury that's not so serious or it is a back injury or whatever it is, they were just like, yes, go get it fixed. Be confident in what you're doing and who you're working with. And we'll circle back when you start getting healthy. And, I still had another year under my contract. So it was awesome. They gave me the time, they gave me the space to fully heal. And sometimes that's not the case. And you feel the pressure to hustle back. And I know guys do. They want to be back out playing, and they feel the pressure from up top or whatever, and they come back too soon. And next thing you know, they're taking 6 steps back. So a credit to the whole organization, training staff, and obviously GM and everyone, coaching staff. It was awesome.
Yeah. And saying that, I treat obviously a lot of professional athletes and in many different sports. There's such a dark side to sports that I think people think, oh, everyone makes so much money and they get to play around. Like, what a dream job, which, don't get me wrong, it's a dream job. But there are some dark sides of sports. Injuries, how much you have to be away from your family. And then just this anxiety about the contracts and getting traded, and am I going to get signed again? How do you feel about some of that dark side of sports, and how have you experienced it personally?
I think I've seen a lot of it, the injuries. I haven't had the security of a long-term contract. And I'm not the only one, that's for sure. I mean, there's only a select few in the whole league or each professional league that gets to play their whole career in one organization. That's rare. And if you get to do it, that's awesome. That obviously means you're a great athlete, you're a better person, everything that goes into it. But for me, I've bounced around. I think Vancouver's my 7th team. Nashville, we played for 4 years, the longest we've ever been on one team, but it wasn't a 4-year contract.
Right.
It was sign 1 year, sign another year, and then sign 2 years. So you never had that, like, okay, I'm going to be here for 4 years. It just kind of ended up that way. When we signed that 2-year deal, it felt like we were signing 7 years. It was like, ooh, that's amazing. So yeah, we've bounced around. Obviously, as a hockey player, as the athlete, pretty easy in the sense that we get traded or we move to a different team. You start talking to the guys in the off season or whatever. You show up at the rink with your new team, and you're instantly brothers. You just walk in, and it's like we have something in common. The challenging thing now, as a dad of 2 kids and a husband, like, we just pick up our bags and leave. The families are what wear the brunt of the load. They got to deal with all the logistics, whether it's packing up the apartment, selling a house, getting the kids situated with new doctors, dentists, schools, etc. Like, I just go grab my hockey bag, a suitcase, some underwear, socks, hop on a plane, hop into a locker room, play a game probably the next night, and everything's good. That side of it for an athlete, we're lucky, and that's where you surround yourself with your team, and that part of the success. Yeah, I mean, that the injuries are challenging. The dark side, it's not always glitz and glam, that's for sure. There's behind the scenes. Athletes have to put so much time into their craft, and like the injuries come. I'm watching like that quarterback documentary on Netflix, and I see what those guys put in week to week and the what they take on the field, like the hits, and it's crazy. And all the extracurriculars outside of what the team provides to be the best, and to be able to play on Sunday, as they refer to, or whatever, Thursday or Monday, like, there's a lot that goes into it outside that not everyone sees. But I don't think you talk to any athlete, they wouldn't trade it for anything.
No. And I mean, hockey, if you don't know, they're playing 3 to 4 games a week. It's 82 games season plus playoffs if you make it. So camp starts September on a normal season, and regular season ends April. And then if you're in playoffs, you could go all the way to
June.
Yeah.
And then start up again. And
that's a lot. And you guys are on the road on long road trips.
Yeah.
And it's a dream. But there is also things that make it tough, just like any other career.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every career's got the not so glamorous part of it, right? And, we're fortunate to travel and see cities and play, but you're playing every night too. So, or every other night. So, there's a grind that goes with it. And, but like I said, it's your job. So you adapt and you find a way to take care of yourself and be the best you can be.
So what do you think gives you the edge for all those teens, the parents who have kids listening out there, even the people, like, what do you think gave Matt Irwin the edge to be a professional hockey player in the NHL?
I think it's perspective on a lot of things. Understanding where you're at in your career. For me, no, I'm not going to be playing every night anymore. And that's been the case for of my 11, 12 years, that's pretty much been the case for like 7 of them, or maybe even more. But you just got to find your role within the team. There's certain things you can control, and that's hard work. That's being a good person, being a good teammate. All of that stuff's under your control. What happens on the ice, whether a coach likes you, if the coach is playing you, or, whatever. Certain things are just out of your control. Injuries, they happen. You just got to come. For me, it's coming to the rink, grateful, excited, willing to do anything that I'm asked to do. And just, I think just being a good person, being a good teammate, honest, hardworking, that will carry you a long way. And I have no doubt in my mind, if I was a shitty teammate, I would have been out of this league probably 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Once I started not being an everyday player, gone. No doubt in my mind, I would be out of the league. Just that alone, just being yourself, being true to you, your teammates, everyone, has definitely extended my career, I'd say.
Absolutely. And I mean, everyone fucks up at some point and messes up. Is there one moment or play or something in your mind that you wish you could take back that you didn't remember?
There's a lot of plays. Yeah. You're not supposed to pass to the other team. I've learned that a few times. Yeah, there's a ton. I mean, that's the thing in anything. I feel like it's important to have kind of that short-term memory. Doesn't matter if you're just everyday life or whatever. I think short-term memory is huge, but also learn from it too. Realize what happened. Try not to make that mistake again, and move on and learn from it. Don't just completely black it out, but take something from that experience and take it and turn it into something positive and move on. I think can be harder, easier said than done, but over time you kind of get comfortable with that, and mistakes are going to happen. Mistakes happen in life. As an athlete, there's going to be bad games. There's going to be good games. It's from shift to shift. You go from making a bad play to that next shift being better, and then building off that. If you have a bad game, make sure the next game's better. If you have a bad practice, make sure the next one's better. It's just don't be consistently, I guess, with poor habits or what have you. Make sure you're learning from your mistakes and enjoy the process, because it's not going to be smooth, but you can learn a lot from those facing those kind of adversities.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm so excited for you to be playing another season and part of your team that's able to help you out and keep you going.
Yes, thank you.
We love being able to hang and see you in Chantel, and we're so honored. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Now, if you want to do something really special for me and got a lot out of this episode, go leave a 5-star written review of the show on Apple Podcast. And if you're a Spotify listener, just tap the 5 stars. To submit any of your health questions to the show, simply DM me on Instagram at Dr. Audra Lance. And don't worry, all your questions will be kept strictly anonymous. So send me all your embarrassing questions. And don't forget, breathe into your butthole. Toodaloo!